Hi everybody, this is Caroline Sotheby and welcome to Up, Down, and Around Town. Well, we have our guest in the studio right now, but I'd say she has many caps, but we know her as VeggiePatti, and welcome to the show. Jack, and we have been talking to you beforehand, but I guess maybe the best thing is, number one, you do an awful lot of programs down at the Healthy Food Store, right?
Yes.
And everybody knows where that place is, right down on Biddle Avenue, and the twins
I hope they
have
do.
it.
If they don't, it's about time they find it.
Yeah. Anyway, what do you do now at Healthy Foods?
I want to say thank you very much for having me on the show, first of all. I appreciate it. So at Total Health Foods, I'm known as VeggiePatti. And what I do is I promote healthy eating and healthy lifestyles. And the way I do that is by teaching people how to retake control of their health. And in order to do that, I teach classes. So I teach classes on everything from creating healthy habits to how to do a gluten-free Thanksgiving, which I just had. Basically, if there's something that I have expertise in, I talk to the girls at Total Health Food and ask if they think their customers would be interested in a class, and I can set up a class on that. Or they get feedback from their customers requesting classes, and if it's something that I have the knowledge in, then I offer a class on that. My signature class with them is actually a green smoothie challenge. It's a 6-week course, and we talk about green smoothies and getting rid of the processed food in the diet, adding more raw foods to your diet, activity levels, you know, how to start getting active when you might be a couch potato. We go through healthy habits, and then also how to set yourself up for success to sustain this program. And like I said, it's a 6-week program that I do. I've offered it twice already. This will be the 3rd time I'm offering it. We'll start in January. And you can go to my website at VeggiePatti.com to find out info, or just go down to Total Health Foods, and they have flyers everywhere for my classes. But the reason we focus on green smoothies is because it's a very quick, easy, and nutritious way to start getting more whole foods back into your diet. Because a lot of our foods these days, people eat a lot of processed foods, and there's a lot of nutrients that are stripped from those foods, and it's just not whole foods. Our body doesn't recognize a lot of these preservatives as food, and so green smoothies are a way just to get whole foods, plant-based nutrients back into your diet.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that that I do there. I also, in March, I'll be offering a class where I kind of put everything together. There's 2 components that we focus on. That's on the physical health side, and then there's 2 components that we focus on the emotional health side. And I kind of put that together for everybody and how you can go and be overall a healthier individual. And so I work with people at their levels. I happen to be a vegan myself. I tend to eat mostly raw foods, but you don't have to be a vegan to attend any of my classes. I work with people at their own level, and I meet them at their level. One thing I do, though, I started doing, people were requesting information about, I want to be a vegetarian, or I want to be a vegan, or I have gluten allergies, I don't know what to do. So I talked with Kathleen and Annette and Jeanette, and we came up with this concept where I go in once a month. It's the 2nd Thursday of every month, and I offer a free Q&A session. So if you have any questions about being a vegan, a vegetarian, a raw foodist, if you don't know how to eat gluten-free but you think you need to, if you want to just add more whole foods into your diet, or if you have any food allergies, you just come and talk to me. I'm there at 7 p.m. the 2nd Thursday of the month in the juice bar, and you can just ask me questions, and it's all free. So.
Yeah, and if we got to let our viewers out there know that if you want to get on the Green Brigade, you better have a blender at home, otherwise you'll be whipping it up like you do mashed potatoes.
Or you can go to Total Health Foods and purchase a green smoothie in their juice bar.
You mentioned vegan, but you also mentioned vegetable. What's the difference? Vegetarian. What's the difference?
The difference between a vegetarian and a vegan. A vegetarian does not eat any meat. So they still eat dairy, they still eat eggs, they still eat honey.
Okay.
A vegan eats no animal products at all, and there's different categories of vegan. And so technically a vegan eats no animal products at all. So you're not going to eat any dairy, you're not going to eat any eggs in addition to the no meat. And most vegans don't eat any honey. There's still a select few that do eat honey, but most vegans don't eat honey. And then you have what would be considered an ethical vegan, where they also don't wear any clothing or use any products that are made from animals. They don't wear wool, they don't wear silk, they don't wear leather. So, and that's, you know, that's obviously not...
That's like a religious
Well, you
to the
can kind
point,
of
isn't it?
it's you can kind of consider it that way, but it's really not a religion. It's really just an ethical belief. It's moral and ethical belief that they have, and so
Okay.
they choose not to use an animal in any way.
Okay.
Boy, it must be hard for them to buy clothes.
Not really,
No?
because I don't wear any. My rule of thumb is if it's something that I've had for a while, like if I've had shoes that I bought many years ago, like if I had leather boots that I bought many years ago, I'm not going to throw them away because they're still good right now. But when I make new purchases, I don't buy anything with leather or wool or anything that's
Really?
come from an animal.
Okay. All right.
So it's a lifestyle, and you choose. Everybody
Yeah,
chooses
well-
their own lifestyle, and if that's the
Right.
lifestyle you choose, you know where to go to shop, you know where to go to look, and it's not really that difficult.
Yeah, but it is puzzling to some people because animals rely on us to be helped raised, and cows to be milked, and horses to be fed, and you have dog as a pet, and actually a dog is a man's or woman's best friend. They'll treat you better than your own brother or sister probably would, a dog or something like that. So that makes it very unusual for some people to swallow or probably understand, because we depend on animals for our lifestyle, and they depend on us for their lifestyle.
Well, the difference is with the vegan is vegans still support, like there is a great farm animal sanctuary in Manchester, which is right near Ann Arbor. It's called Sasha Farms, and so they take in rescued cows, chickens, sheep,
All of
pigs,
them, really?
and so they take them there, and the people come and they care for them, but they're letting the animals live out their natural life instead of using them for food or clothing. So that's really the main difference. And it's like I said, veganism is a personal belief, and I don't judge, like I said, in my classes, I don't judge people. I meet people at their levels. This is my belief. If people want to know more about it, I'm definitely more than happy to talk to them about it and to give them information, but I don't push people into
Right.
it.
Everybody's got their own way of thinking, way of growing up, and having their own, opinions given to them.
Right.
And all of a sudden they start making their own decisions, and that's their lifestyle, like you said. You had mentioned a lot of people probably wonder if you're a doctor or in that category, but you said you found out an awful lot of information because you had a health problem, and you had to figure out, and you consulted many doctors, and when you want to expand on that one, how?
Yeah, basically, I've had some genetic health issues that had come up in my life. Earlier in my life, I was generally healthy, and then I got, after I graduated college, I started to experience some health problems, and I started with my regular doctor, not making much progress there. I was getting worse, had to go to specialists. I think I've seen almost every type of specialist that there is. I started getting into holistic doctors, checking all the different modalities. I've seen Alice Wong down, over at Total Health Food. I've seen all different doctors. And what I had to do is, for me, because each person is an individual, whether it's your eating habits or your health, if you have a medical issue, I really believe each person is individual, and you need to figure out what's going to work for you. And what works for me isn't going to work for you. What works for you isn't necessarily going to work for me. So I had to do my own research. I did a lot of research, basically with doctors or through different medical libraries. I did research on my own. I found some programs that doctors offered online that I could take and take their classes online. And I had to piece together what all the different doctors were saying to see what would work for me and my health issues. And so that's how I came to have all of this knowledge that now I can share with other people, because I've done everything. I've tried pretty much everything. Like I said, I've been to almost every single modality that's out there. I've done, like over the summer, I did a 25-day juice fast where it was just green juice, because I hadn't done that yet. And so I said, well, I got to be the guinea pig, so I did that. I've done green smoothie cleanses. I'm actually doing one right now where, actually this is I think day 8 at this point, where I've just drank green smoothies. I didn't, I'm not eating like regular solid foods, because I can get all the nutrition I need and all the calories I actually need in a green smoothie.
Okay.
And
They're
that's
filling. They're filling.
They are filling, and that's just something for me personally, because I tend to have a lot of food allergies and sensitivities. Sometimes that helps me to calm my system down, so then I can go and reintroduce foods into my diet. But this is all things I had to learn. I had to do a lot of research. This is probably, for me, about 16 years worth of research
Really?
that I've done through different doctors, going to doctors, asking very poignant questions. I go in with a notebook. I have questions I want answered, and they give me articles, they send me to places. So yes, I'm not a doctor myself, but I've done quite a bit of research, and what I've done now is started sharing all the information with people.
Okay.
I run a social group for vegetarians, vegans, raw foodists, or for friends and family and people just interested in it. I run it out of Facebook. It's called Adventures in Vegan Land. It's all free. You can go to Facebook, I think it's facebook.com/groups/veganland, and you can join our group. And I've run this group for a number of years. And we basically meet, we might go out to eat, and then we do an activity. So it's just people that want information about healthier living, being a vegetarian or being a vegan. And I started sharing information with people in my group, and they're the ones that have encouraged me to start teaching classes on it, because they said, you do all of this for all of us, you really should put it together in a class format. And I do have a background in education, and so I was able to take all of my experiences and put it together. And then I met up with the ladies at Total Health Foods, and it just kind of all gelled together.
Let's go back in genes, because a lot of people that pass away and everything like that, they passed away from the same thing their father did or their grandfather did, anything like that. How do you go back in your genes? Let's go back to your parents. Were they like you are today, or did they try it like you are today? Let's go back to your grandparents and start there and come on up.
They're not, and part of it is a lot of times when people pass away from the same diseases, you have to think about it as they're living the same lifestyles. So it's not like, so if somebody's going to pass away from heart disease, yes, you could have a genetic predisposition for a heart disease, but if you're eating an unhealthy diet that's going to clog your arteries, and that's what you've learned and you've never changed your diet, then it makes sense that people would, that somebody would pass away from something their father passed away from or their grandfather, because it's that lifestyle that they've maintained. So you can have the genetic predisposition, but it's really about your lifestyle. And there are people that by changing their diet, by changing their, how they choose to eat and how they choose to live, they've been able to reverse some of those conditions or put them in remission. So for me, the genetic issues that came up with me, you can see it, in retrospect, you can see it in my parents. It's more of like a recessive trait where they might have a few of the qualities, but for me it just kind of, for whatever reason, it kind of all blossomed out. Because you can see it in my siblings too. There's a little pieces here and there, but it's not full blown like I have it. And so for me, I really have to work with diet and activity and lifestyle changes to make sure that I'm healthy and at my optimal health. And I'm still working on it, because I still have issues that come up and I still go to see doctors, but it's just a matter of tweaking things here and there and seeing what's going to work. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to be on the same program the rest of my life, because your body changes. Yeah. So as my body changes, I need to learn to adjust with that. But once you learn the tools to do that, it becomes quite easy. At the beginning, it's very frustrating. I will tell you that. It's very frustrating. But when you learn the tools, it's very easy. And that's what I teach in my classes, is I give people the tools to be able to do this for themselves so that they can choose their own lifestyle, and they can choose what lifestyle works for them and what works for their bodies.
I can go back 60, 70 years, because I'm over 80 and everything else, and I never heard about a vegetarian or any other type of thing, only in maybe the last 8, 9, or 10 years. Well, because I'm going back to my grandparents and everything else, and if they were like you, how would they have gotten anywhere? Because they had to ride a horse. There wasn't cars back in 1890 or, back when they were born or something like that. How this came into existence, because it wasn't 50, 60 years ago.
Well, you're talking about America. In other societies and other cultures around the world, there are whole cultures that are vegetarian.
All vegetarians going way back.
And they've been that way for many, many years.
Yeah, because they couldn't get nothing else to eat, but probably the vegetables that they grew themselves.
Yeah, well, yeah, and
I'm going back to the Indians now.
And and I've traveled the world, and I visited a lot of countries, and there's a lot of places it's just, for them, that's what's cost effective to them, is when they find that if they grow, like in Egypt, for example, they say they're about 90% vegetarian, so they may only eat meat 10% of the time, because for them, they said, it makes sense to grow their own vegetables. It's more economical to grow their own food, to grow their own vegetables, and eat a diet primarily consisting of that, because if they were to clear all of that land and use it for meat, they don't have enough of the resources to be able to do that. And so even in America, if you think about it, we don't do all of the production for meat here. We've expanded into other countries. You know,
Yeah.
we cut down part of the rainforest for Burger King and things like that. So the lifestyle that your grandparents and great-grandparents had here was more of a sustainable lifestyle, not what we have here with our population.
Well, I think.
Well, they had everything very handy for them to get up. I did it myself, 14 years old. I'm out on my grandparents' farm and everything out. It's time to go out and milk the cow, pick the eggs up and bring them in the house for a chick, churn your own butter and things like that. Now, in 1948, I went into the Navy, but I didn't get into the Philippines until around the end of 1950 when the Korean War really broke out and everything else. I've seen there. In fact, I told my wife, she's heard this story so many times, but I said I had a Filipino hut boy over there that took care of doing laundry and shining your shoes and everything else like that. And I looked at him and I says, how old are you? And he says, 46. And I says, you don't look a day over 16. I says, what are you telling me, you're 46? He says, yeah, because you Americans eat so much of this and this. He only ate rice and fish. And that's it. And I went through China and I saw the same thing, eating rice and seaweed and I mean, you know,
Most of the,
yeah.
most
I
of the
never
countries have
saw,
healthier
you know,
diets.
through all of China and Korea and all the places I was during the time I was in the service, I've seen the difference in, you know.
And the main difference is, one is you'll see this in a lot of the Asian countries in particular, like Japan. When I was in Japan, I was told everybody looks 20 years younger than what they actually are. One is they're all active. There are people that in their 80s that are hiking up mountains.
Oh yeah, I'll grant you that.
And they don't eat the processed food that we eat here.
No.
And so those are really the main, some of the main differences. And that's one of the lifestyle that we as Americans have lost is we go for the convenience food, which is very processed and it has all these preservatives in it. And we sit in the car to, maybe if we go to the gym, we sit in the car to drive to the gym. We just sit at work to do our jobs. We sit at home to relax. So there's a lot of a sedentary lifestyle. And that wasn't, like you were talking about when you were younger, you went out and you worked at the farm. So you had more of an active lifestyle. And today we don't have that. And so part of what I try to do is to teach people how to take control back again of your health by making better dietary choices, by figuring out how do you become more active and putting that into your daily routine without taxing yourself or causing, because sometimes you do things and people just quit because emotionally they're not ready to do it. So I do a step-by-step process where I can show people how do it starts with diet, because if you don't feel good, if you feel like crap, you're not going to want to go out and be active.
Right. So that's the bottom line.
I think fast food places, I can't knock any of the fast food places or knock anybody else, but the fact is that we have more convenience than they do in other parts of the country and stuff like that. You go down, you get what they call TV dinner. You throw it in the microwave and you sit down and watch TV, and it's a chicken fried steak or something like this, and convenience, the difference. That people, when I was 14, I didn't see that convenience. We had to go out and pick our own tomatoes, get our own corn, get our own eggs, everything.
Well, even my grandfather, who came from, he says Poland taken over by Germany, but when he came in and got married, the whole backyard was a vegetable garden. And then he had every type of cherry tree, and he had the grapevines, and you had your apples and pears and everything. And in the morning where you're going to have your cereal, you could go outside and get the strawberries or the blueberries or whatever that was all natural.
Right. And it was fresh.
Yes, it was fresh. No preservatives.
No pesticides.
No. And I mean, I tell my kids that they even had me stomping on the grapes to make the wine, and they laugh at me like, yeah. But that was the culture I got to know when I was a young kid. Yeah. And then things change, though, like you said. All of a sudden,
there's been two different kinds of systems and everything else. I said, as a kid, I could go out on my Aunt Clara's property right there, had apple trees and everything else, take an apple just like this, and eat it and nothing else like that. You went to the store 20 years later, maybe only 5 years later, you got apples off the store. They've come from a place where they sprayed to kill bugs and everything that were getting into them. And if you didn't take it home and wash it,
And you got to peel the wax off the apple, that
Yeah.
the wax coating that they put on. But see, that's how you grew up with that lifestyle. That's what I'm trying to teach people is how do you return to that in our society? How do you get the fresh back in? How do you get the natural foods back into your diet? And that's part of what, like the Green Smoothie Brigade,
Yeah.
that's what I've coined for people that are green smoothie enthusiasts, that you don't even have to take my classes to be part of the Green Smoothie Brigade, but anybody who wants to have a renewed commitment to a healthier diet based on whole foods, like that's what it's about. It's about, you know, adding these foods back into your diet. And some of us are so nutrient starved that the beauty of the green smoothie is you can pack so much into it. Like when I make a green smoothie, I can take a whole head of greens and put it in there. Most people are not going to sit there and eat a whole head of greens, but you can put it in this smoothie, add some fruit in there, and make it really delicious, and it's very nutritious. And with smoothies, you can feel the effects of it within 15 to 20 minutes. It's already starting to absorb into your body. And it's also pre-digested, basically, because you're blending it, so you're breaking down the cellulose that's in those plant walls so that it can get absorbed into your body more easily. And that's the beauty of the green smoothie, and that's helped me a long way. And I've, you know, over the years, I've done green smoothies. I've gotten off of them to try something else. I've gone back on them, and for me, I found that it works. It's the best tool that I have because it gives me that boost of nutrients that I need. The students that have taken my classes, they've noticed, you know, huge changes, and once they start doing it, they keep doing it because it's easy to do, and it's so much easier than buying, you know, a ready-made shake off the shelf or something like that, and it's much more nutritious for you.
Well, you probably know yourself and everything else like that. It's like the convenience I'm talking about and everything else like that. It's kind of hard to find the fresh stuff today like we could 50 years ago and everything else. Everything was fresh when I was a kid, you know. You could get it off your own property or even a corner grocery store, or even you drove by a food stand on the side, a thing like that. But production and everything else, the way things to get more out. You know, I never heard of, I'll go back just 40 years to when I was 40 years old. I don't even know if I heard the word cancer back then. Okay? Or
it was there, but it wasn't prevalent.
It could have. It probably was there, yes. There was a lot of diseases there, but I said the diseases I knew as a kid, saying going back to when I was 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, until I got out of high school and everything else, the diseases around there, mumps, measles, chicken pox, and local stuff like this, diarrhea or something like that. That was serious, you know, something like that. Today, heart trouble, cancer, this, oh my God, and everything. Myself, I've gone through cancer, 3 different types of cancer. I've had throat cancer, prostate cancer, and colon cancer, and beat all 3 of them.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Good thing you're
He's
still
gone
here.
through his turmoil, but aren't you glad you finally found, it took a long time, but you finally found a way to help yourself.
Yes.
And this is how you're helping somebody else, too, if they have any questions or if they're starting to have situations and problems. Okay, for the people that are, I'm sure they know where the health food place is, and like you said,
On Biddle Avenue, right over here.
Biddle Avenue, all right, and you're going to have your programs, but you got something else coming up.
Yeah.
It's sort of Christmassy and at the same time for the kids.
Yep, I'm going to talk about that. And before I forget, though, I want to say that I also have a book. It's called Simple Joy and Simple Foods. It's my vegan, gluten-free cookbook for anybody who wants to start.
A cookbook, is it?
It's a cookbook,
Yeah.
It's vegan and gluten-free, and you can get it right at Total Health Foods.
Okay.
You get them over at Total Health Foods, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the programs I'm doing at Total Health Foods, like I said, I teach a lot of classes there. My green smoothie class will start up again in January.
Okay.
But I'm doing a Christmas, basically it's a kids' Christmas night. That's what we're doing, and it's December 14th. It's a Friday night at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And I work with a rescue group. Actually, I founded a rescue group. It's a nonprofit animal welfare organization, and as part of that group, I decided I'm going to start writing children's books, and the children's book follows stories of rescued animals. And this was the first book I wrote, and part of the proceeds go back to the rescue group. This is called Fireball the Christmas Kitty. This was actually my rescued kitty. Unfortunately, he has since passed away, but so this is all a book about a cat that was abandoned by his family, and he ends up in the local animal shelter. There's a young girl that decided she wants a cat, and her mother told her, if you want a cat, you need to go volunteer and see what it's really like to take care of an
really?
animal. And so the two of them meet at the shelter, and this is their story. So this is my
that's
book.
great.
Called, it's called Fireball the Christmas
Gives
Kitty.
kids an idea then. Yeah.
Yeah, and it talks about the reality of the shelters, but in a way that I don't give out too much information. I allow the parents to explain, if the kids have questions about it, I allow the parents to explain to the children at age-appropriate times what happens in the shelters. So I put some information in there, but I leave it open for the parents to continue that discussion. So this is the book I'm going to be reading on the kids' Christmas night. Again, 6 p.m. December 14th over at Total Health Foods. And we're going to have smoothie samples and cookies for the kids. And afterwards, I'll do a book signing, and the book will be available for purchase. And I'm also a thumbprint artist. So
Yeah,
I
that's
like
something
that.
that interests me. I like that because the thing is you go in someplace, you got to go and cash a check and say, put your thumbprint on it or here or something and things like that. And I said, here it is with art. Can we do this with all our fingers? You know, you think, well, the FBI would fingerprint me or something. But that's clever. I thought, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to have some Christmas-themed ones, and so I can actually do a family portrait with the family's thumbprints for Christmas.
Okay.
And I will have that available for a small fee as well at Total Health Foods.
Can you do one like that with your big toe or little toe or something?
I
like that?
suppose you could,
Yeah.
but I'd want to make sure people wash their feet before I touch
Oh, yeah, definitely. How about even washing their hands? You know,
Yep.
you know,
I
you
have
talk
mites.
about you talk about health and everything else like that. I really believe in this now. The fact is that any time that you go out and everything else, the more you wash your hands, the less you're going to maybe get germs or colds or anything else. Because let's face it, you can sit down we go to the Copeland Center and play cards. There's people that have and stuff like this, and you're dealing cards. They're handling those cards the same as you. So when you get through playing your card game, go and wash your hands real good, you know. Money is the dirtiest stuff that we can handle. You get dollar bills or change or something like that, after you go and wash your hands. And I found out that by washing your hands, I don't care if it's every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or half hour, or what it is, you know. Constantly wash your hands. The more you do, you'll have less colds, you'll have less sniffle, everything.
Yeah, just washing your hands. And people do have the antibacterial products that they can use if they can't get to a place to wash their hands.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like sometimes antibacterial products can be overused, and then the germs get resistant to that. So just regular soap will work.
Yeah.
And doorknobs, especially, people don't realize this, but doorknobs are one of the big places that
like
have
I said,
germs.
doorknobs and money and cards and stuff like that.
Well,
But I thought this was unique. There's got to be other parts of the thing like that. Just a thumbprint to make a your thumbprint.
I've got some
in different colors and everything else.
Yeah, I've got some I've got different animals that I do, and then I'm doing for the Christmas ones. I have family, like you can do like a string of lights or a wreath or a Christmas tree made out of the whole family's thumbprints, and then your name
That'd be
goes
fun.
by it.
Well,
And
I
so-
hope
You're allowed to get adults out there.
We have to almost sign off, but I said I just hope that all our viewers out there watching this show and everything else, they get down over to the twins' place over the health food place and meet this young lady, because she's very interested in everything else, and she'll help you when it comes to putting things in your mouth and other things and that. Okay.
That's right.
Hey, thanks, Patty. Appreciate you coming.
Well, thanks for having me.
If anything else pops up, come on down.
Okay.
Okay, all right. And I hope you enjoyed it. There was a lot of information given out, and I'm sure you can always ask questions and get answers from her if you go down there. And hey, take care. We'll see you next time.
We'll probably have her
Up,
back
down, and
twice
around
more,
town.
too, because she's definitely coming back in Easter to tell us about this book, the
About
Easter
that
Chinchilla.
Chinchilla.
Yeah.
Did you have a chinchilla?
Yes.
You did? Hey.